Alright, hello YouTube, this is Card Games 2, coming at you again tonight. Another brief introduction before my roommate puts his other deck on here. It's, Naturia Gigavise. It's a scary deck. If you have played against an Infernity deck, that's kind of like how it runs. I don't like it. I didn't like Infernities, and I don't really like this deck. But I'm still going to put it on, you know, the more decks the better, right? Maybe somebody will be like, oh, you can easily counter it by doing blah, and that'd be awesome for me, but no. Anyway, again, shout out The World Ends With You, great video game for the DS, go and buy it, and check out the Sea Star League if you're interested in competing competitively in StarCraft at your local college. Alright, and onto his deck.
Hello again, YouTube. This is my Naturia Gigavise deck that I put together a couple nights ago, just on a whim. I always liked plants, and I always wanted to build a Gigavise deck. And once the Naturia stuff came out in Duelist Revolution, mainly Bamboo Shoot, I decided why not. Well, first I built a Naturia deck, and it sucked. So I was working on it one day, took out a bunch of cards, realized, hey, I could splash in some Gigaplants and some Supervises here and make this a Gigavise deck. And it's been kind of going from there. And I brought it up to its current build a couple nights ago, and I've been really surprised at how good it's been running. I actually think right now it might be running a little bit better than my Volcanic Quick Draw deck that I just posted. It's been testing really well against this channel's Scrap deck, my own Quick Draw deck. And that's really all that it's played against so far, but I want to get it out there and play it against some other good decks. It's very much a work in progress, so not a lot of what you see might be final. As always, welcoming comments, suggestions, what have you. But moving right along, I'm going to get into the monsters. Starting off with one Naturia Pineapple. This card is a Treeborn Frog for plants. It's that simple. Level 2, it comes out, it becomes a tribute for Bamboo Shoot or any of my other Gigaplants, or sack it off with Super Solar Nutrient to get a Lone Fire Blossom out of the deck. Deck doesn't really revolve around this card, but it's really nice to have. Next we got 2 Naturia Bamboo Shoot. This card is scary good. If you tribute a Naturia monster to summon it, your opponent can no longer play spells or trap cards. Simple. Done. That easy. It's a 2000 monster, so it's not terribly hard to get over, but not that easy either. Creates a lot of lockdown situations, and it's everything you loved about Jinzo, but with spells too. So this card creates a lot of lockdowns, and it's really nice. Next up, we got a Naturia Beans. Not really sure about this card in here yet. I have it in right now because it's a level 2 that can't be destroyed by battle once. So it's a good first turn set to later then tribute for Bamboo Shoot or sack off for Super Solar Nutrient. But other than that, the card is kind of a dead draw. I don't really know what this card should be yet, but I'm working on it. Next up, we got 2 Kokimeru Graveros. It's a 1900 beater, which is really nice. And its effect is, during my standby phase, if it's survived that long, I can send a level 3 or lower monster from my deck to my graveyard. A lot of cards in this deck want to be in the graveyard. I can send a Dandy for fluff tokens, I can send pretty much any one of my tuners would want to be in the graveyard, so it sets up a lot of this deck's plays, and it's really nice. 2 Dandelion. 2 Lone Fire Blossom. Love this card. Gets you any plant in your deck. Usually used to set up the star of this deck, 3 Gigaplant and a Spore hiding underneath there. You didn't see that yet. Gigaplant is the Gigavise. A Gigavise deck, if you haven't played against one, revolves around using this card. Its effect, it's a Gemini monster, so once it gains its Gemini effect through either normal summoning it once it's already on the field or equipping it with Supervise, is once per turn it lets you summon a plant type or insect type monster from my hand or graveyard. And The deck is a Synchro Swarming deck that brings out Gigavise, or brings out Gigaplant, equips it with Supervise, gets a level 1 tuner in Synchros for Power Tool Dragon. When Supervise goes to the graveyard, with Supervise's effect, Gigaplant is once again special summoned from the graveyard. Power Tool Dragon can then use its effect to search the deck for more equip cards, namely more Supervises, to keep equipping it to Gigaplant and keep the swarm going. Spore, first of our tuners. Level 1, pops itself out of the graveyard, pretty self-explanatory. Works wonders with this other card. This is a proxied glow-up bulb. If you watched my other video, I already went off on a mini rant about how friggin' good glow-up bulb is. It's even better in this deck. And Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler kills Naturia Pineapple once it's into the graveyard because Naturia Pineapple's effect only goes off if all your monsters are plant or beast in the grave. But that's never actually happened to me, and the effect negation is really nice. 2 Cosmo Beats, level 2 tuners, that can special summon themselves from your hand during your opponent's turn if your opponent normal summons or sets a monster. I don't use its effect very often, but it's nice. Once again, it's level 2, so we can get sacked for Super Solar Nutrient or Bamboo Shoot. And Naturia Rose Whip is our final level 3 tuner. Going off into the spells. 2 Super Solar Nutrient, which I've talked about a lot now. This card lets you sacrifice a level 2 or lower plant monster to special summon basically Lone Fire Blossom from your deck. That's all you really ever want to get. But there's a lot of targets for it. You can use a Fluff token from Dandelion, Naturia Pineapple, Beans or Cosmo Beat. Lets you get to Lone Fire Blossom, usually without using your normal summon, which is really nice because then once Lone Fire Blossom pulls out Gigaplant, you can then normal summon the Gigaplant to give him his revival effect. 3 Supervise, aka the key to making this deck good. Equipping this to Gigaplant gives him his effect without you having to summon him again. And then once you synchro, using Gigaplant as a material, once Supervise hits the graveyard, Gigaplant comes right back out. Once you get to a Supervise, you're normally getting to most of the other ones as long as you have access to a level 1 tuner for Power Tool Dragon. Lets you swarm like crazy and unlocks the deck's potential. 2 Mark of the Rose. This is the other card Power Tool Dragon gets in this deck. In a format without brain control, Mark of the Rose is even better than it used to be. You pop out a plant from your graveyard, which you have a lot of, and you brain control a monster by removing a monster in your graveyard from play instead of paying life points. You can then tribute it off, clear the field for that last game-ending push, or synchro it even. Very versatile card, very good. Giant Trunade. It's a must in explosive decks like this. Clears your opponent's back row long enough for you to get off your combos and create a field that is game-ending. 2 MST. 1 for 1. There are 3 level 1 tuners in the deck. This gets to all of them. Once again, discarding Dandelion for this card nets you a Formula Synchron and a draw. You can then use the Formula Synchron to synchro anything really, or you get to Shooting Star Dragon. Monster Reborn. Foolish Burial. And Dark Hole. Moving on to the trap lineup. We got 2 Compulse Evacs. I like this card in this deck. Compulse Evac is a really good... I like it to clear synchros. I think it's a very underused card that doesn't get used as much as it should. It clears synchros and bypasses effect negation. Once again, this deck revolves around clearing your opponent's field and making one big push. This helps you get around a defense position monster or a monster that you can't get over. And if it's a synchro, just outright, it's the same as killing it. Also, if you get out a Naturia Bamboo Shoot that on your field that doesn't have its effect, which is rare, but it could happen, you can use this to bring it back to your hand and then summon it later. Hasn't happened to me yet, but it's a nice thing to know. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, self-explanatory. Call of the Haunted. Solemn Judgment, and one 7 Tools of the Bandit, which I just teched in here, and I'm not sure whether or not I should just make this Trap Stun. In fact, I think Trap Stun would pretty much... This is basically a card that is insurance for when you're going out on your big plays and you don't have True Nade in hand, or you have just your opponent has a lot of back row that you're scared about, and this will cut into a Solemn Judgment or a Warning or something like that. I think Trap Stun might be better suited to this, but I have to test it either way. And that's the deck. I don't have a dedicated extra deck for this yet because I haven't figured out exactly what works, but I'll tell you as much that 2 Power Tool Dragons are in it. It's key to searching out the supervises that keep the deck fluid. Other than that, I'm still toying around with things. There's a lot of different synchros you can get to this deck, and actually a surprisingly easy amount of ways to get out Shooting Star Dragon. So, still working on the extra deck, but that is it. Please comment on the deck. I've been really surprised with how well it's been playing. I haven't seen a deck like this yet. I've seen Gigavise decks, I've seen Naturia decks. As far as I know, not many people have tried to combine the two yet, but I think this is scary good, and Naturia is only getting more support, which makes the deck it's all uphill from here. So I'm going to keep working out the kinks on this deck. If you lovely YouTube people would like to comment, please do. And that's going to be it for me today. See you guys next time.